The Fog from 2005. A town's dark secret and their forgotten history is brought back to the surface by a deadly fog hiding some kind of force that's going around killing the inhabitants of an island. And it's up to one of their locals to find out what's really going on and why. Okay, so I want to say something real quick. After doing so many of these movies, seeing originals and remakes, I'm going to say, for the purposes of anyone that wants to see, that hasn't seen an original and its remake and is trying to decide which to see, most people will go with the original and then do the remake. I'm going to suggest the opposite, because you can't appreciate the remake if you've already had the original. There's just something about that, and I know some people will say that you should watch the original and maybe even stay away from the remakes, but I'm saying I'd like to give the remakes a chance. I have not seen the original Fog. This is my first time seeing any movie called The Fog, and to be honest, I feel that it helps me go in with a clearer head. I don't have any preconceived notions of what to expect. I don't know what I'll get going in. And to be honest, if I see the original, I won't know if it's anything like this or not. Because I've seen plenty of remakes that are anywhere from a carbon copy to a complete diversion from what was originally done. And usually the originals are better, so really all you're doing is maybe having a better experience rather than setting your hopes up with the remake. So I would suggest definitely go with remake first, then original if you haven't seen either. Now, as far as the actual review goes, just getting that out of the way, there... Why is that there? Stop it. I've got some issues with my computer. There is some problems that I need to talk about. It's more in the beginning, but there's some very typical jump scare BS that needs to stop. The idea of having... And I'm not saying the jump scares altogether have to stop. I'm saying jump scares that are just a loud sound and most likely a fake out or just something to startle the audience. If there's nothing behind that and it's just an idea that nothing's really happening and nothing's going to happen that's really scary, so let's just get people on edge, that has to stop. You have to have something to earn that jump scare. And there were a few in here that did not earn it at all, and I hate that. I hate it when someone's looking one direction and someone sneaks up and grabs their shoulder like that's a natural thing to do. No one does that unless they want to get punched in the face. There are also cliches and tropes that need to be lost to the sands of time. There's this... There's this character... I hate to say it, but he's the minority character in this. And he's exactly the kind of stereotype that you would expect, doing the kind of stereotypical things you would expect. And, of course, there's a whole bunch of party girls that... Of course, they're just dancing horribly in their swimsuits, drinking beer, going woo to whatever music's playing, and it's just, oh, God. That's another thing that needs to stop, is the woo girls. I mean, hell, they even made fun of that concept in Hatchet. And it worked there because they were self-aware, and they were specifically making fun of that bullshit. The CGI effects are all shit. It's laughably bad. No, it's not even laughably bad. This is like This is early 90s TV movie CGI crap. Maybe a little later, maybe a little higher quality, but not by much. It's real bad. And yet, some of it I'm kind of okay with. Because this movie kind of felt almost like a Disney horror film in that it really holds back on gore and really nasty stuff, but feels like it doesn't actually need to go there. It's actually got something that's worth talking about. Now, in the start, it's bouncing back and forth between actual competence and 2000s stupidity in filmmaking. But as time goes on, it starts getting better and starts leaving that stuff behind, which is what everybody should do. Just leave that crap behind. It has some legitimately good moments that aren't defined by some of that, some of the stuff I've been talking about. I'm trying to get past that. Trying to put that aside. I don't want to go on a rant, but damn it, I could. Even though the CGI is terrible, the practical effects were good, including the makeup. And the Uncanny Valley effect did work okay for this. And when I say that it's kind of like a Disney movie, I'm also thinking specifically about the Haunted Mansion, because the ghost effects kind of remind me of that. But I'm allowing it in this because it's not cartoonish. It does feel unreal, but actually works to the film's strength. So, yeah, I can justify that. The backstory is dark and ties to all these present day events. There's certain things that are happening, like the knocking of a cane on doors and walls, the the wet shoe prints, the fact that there are these there are what is it? There was fires that are going on. There's these artifacts that were discovered. There's a lot of stuff going on here, and I like how it's all built up. It really is a good story, and I like how the investigation goes through, and there's actually clues that people just either ignored or suppressed, and yet they're right out in the open. I really like that. The music also stands out just enough to be noteworthy. It's not great, but it's good enough. And I think that's kind of how you would really label this movie, is it's good enough. It's good enough to be worth your time. It's good enough to watch. I'd say it's good enough to watch a second time, third time. It's it's not exceptional in any way, but it does just enough right to be worth an add to your collection. So I'd say, yeah, 7.5 out of 10. Go watch the Fog remake. In speaking of which, the 31-day challenge, this is the remake I have been waiting to watch. Granted, I was probably going to do The Town That Dreaded Sundown, but then I wanted to see something different, something I hadn't seen before. I remembered, oh, The Fog's a remake. Why didn't I watch that? So, yeah, that's actually worked out pretty well. And I don't think there was anything else about this. No, it should just be the remake category that I've taken care of. I am catching up. It's just taken me a little bit. So, as I'm going through this, see you in the next one.